All right, guys, we are live. I'm running a little late tonight. Getting the show ready. Had some phone calls and a lot of interesting stuff going on in the market of guys who run websites. So I was feeling some calls late tonight, and I think it's going to be a very interesting summer. On that note, of course, our live show each and every week is brought to you by Pride Roofing. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez. What more can we say about them? We appreciate them sponsoring us each and every week. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more later on in the show. And as always, jump on that promo that they're continuing to run. They're going to run it forever. It's been highly successful. But of course, you give them a call, 225-275-2041, and tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. Get your free roofing inspection if you've had any damage. And with the if you tell them you saw it on TigerBait, they're going to give you free. They're going to pay for you to have TigerBait free for a year, a premium subscription, which we've had an unbelievable week and a half, and we're going to talk about that on tonight's show. Going to wait for a lot of you guys to get in there in here tonight, and a lot to talk about. Of course, Kim Mulkey, the aftermath of a whirlwind week, and we covered it wall to wall on TigerBait.com. About this time, or about Tuesday of last week, we jumped on the story and we were all over it, and we can talk about that. We can talk more spring football if you want. We've got the spring evaluation period up, and even though it's really not that because it's still a dead period, and the dead period in recruiting won't end till midnight, May 31st. High school football practices are starting next week, and I'm about to hit the road, and we're going to have a lot of stuff going on there with recruits in that neck of the woods. So glad to have you all with us. Please do me a favor, like, share, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. Please hit the like button, share it to your Facebook feed. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you get alerted each week. Dane Bergeron, hey Mike, where's Buddy? Buddy's taking the night off. I think he's got duty tonight. It's a date night for him. Let's see. Leon Nietzsche, love the higher intensity with Mulkey. You know, it was funny yesterday. I think me and Mike Cobble with Channel 2 were the first two guys in the building to get our equipment set up at 3:30 Monday, I should say, in the PMAC. And then later on, as everybody was set up, we were waiting for the event to kick off. I was talking to multiple guys in the media, Jacques Doucet, Charles Hannegriff, and I was remarking on them about the fact that, man, you know, my clientele at TigerBait.com is football recruiting around the clock, and it was just amazing to me that after, 5-6 days straight of nothing but Kim Mulkey on the site, I didn't have a single football head gripe about, man, mix in some recruiting updates or, anything going on besides Kim Mulkey. Everybody was just bought into it. Mulkey fever, if you want to call it. And they said the same thing was happening with them. I mean, she absolutely captivated this market, and is evidenced by the number of people who got in line and immediately put down deposits for season tickets. And I think people get it, what a big deal it is to have her come back home to Louisiana. And now we're going to have another marquee sport to follow that's going to have national championship aspirations. So things are really looking up in basketball. So we can talk about Kim Mulkey. I talked to David Smoke Sunday night. Those of you that saw that, I apologize for the audio. I realized it was my fault. I was supposed to put in my earbuds so I wasn't listening to my laptop, and I was getting feedback in my mic. So I'll know that next time. But those guys in Waco are really, really sick. But I want to thank them for all their help in covering the story. Those guys at sick'em365.com. There's no way they can replace Kim Mulkey. And I think they just did not believe that she would leave their program. And honestly, I know a lot of people talk about, I know from the Baylor perspective, they're mad as hell at their athletics director for letting her get away. But knowing what I know, talking to the sources, David Smoke had talked to her last Wednesday, and there were several things that she just was not going to get. She did not want a new arena built where it's going to get built. and as successful as she is, a women's basketball coach is not going to dictate where a $170 million basketball facility is going to be placed, particularly if the city of Waco's kicking in $60 million of the price tag. And then it was going to be one step over. It'd be the equivalent of putting an arena, let's say, where the Chimes is and Five Guys. And because it's there, they were then going to be able to get, Baylor is a Christian school. So there's an alcohol sales issue. And because it was going to be one step on city property, it was going to be able to sell alcohol. They're going to be able to, have concerts and attract big artists to that arena. And then the other thing was having the court named after her. And that's not something they were going to do either, naming a court after someone who's still the coach. So, and I know a lot of people think that Scott Drew and the men at Baylor winning a national championship kind of might have sealed the deal. I just think it was perfect timing all the way around for Scott Woodward to seize an opportunity, and he did. And I've been a guy who's been kind of getting after Scott Woodward a bit because, he's about to start year 3 as LSU's athletics director, and he really didn't have a line item that was a major, line item they could point to and say, well, this is what I've done going into my 3rd year. And boy, he's got a big one now. There's no doubt about it. It's Derek Good and Mulkey Mania included the Mulkey mask throw as well. And of course, the next day, the governor says no longer mask, and now we've got all of LSU baseball and softball season with 100% capacity and no mask. So we're moving ahead, folks. And another thing, as soon as she did that, of course, you had the woke folks on Twitter ripping her, and of course now they were ripping her. Then 2 days later, Joe Biden comes out and says that no mask outdoors, and now in Louisiana, the governor says no mask outdoors, and we're going to have stadiums, softball and baseball at 100% capacity with no mask. So good for her. It was an excellent crowd in the PMAC welcoming her here. Biggest introduction of a coach in LSU history, without a doubt. And so I'm anxious to see what the final number is going to be on season tickets. I asked somebody yesterday how many of those season tickets that people put deposit downs, what percentage of those are people who at one time had women's basketball season tickets and dropped them. Maybe they had them during the Augustus Sylvia Files era. And I know that number is pretty big. A lot of them are coming back, but there's no doubt about it. There's a whole new group of fans that are buying tickets that have never been to a women's basketball game. And so I think it's going to be, you give her some time, and I think we're going to find out here in the coming weeks which of those Baylor players are going to join her in Baton Rouge with the new transfer rules. So no doubt about it, it's going to be very, very interesting. Dane Bergeron, you and Derek getting after each other, y'all plagiarizing, or is it my fault for picking the questions out of order? Let's see. Kenny Russell with a recruiting question. Hey, Mike, do you see Aaron Anderson from Carr having a similar playmaking style similar to Jalen Waddle? Man, y'all know I love Aaron Anderson from Carr. He's probably my top receiver in the state of Louisiana for this year. When I first saw him and watched his highlight tape, I said he was Josh Reed 2.0. I know it's kind of risky to put something like that on him, but his ability after the catch, his ability when the ball's in the air, he has ball skills like Tyrann Mathieu, just really aware and great balance. You get that kid in space, and he's going to be difficult to handle. And there's a reason why Nick Saban went in there and tried to and offered him a scholarship a few months ago. So I don't think there's any issues with holding on to him, but I think he could be devastating in the Jake Peetz offense, which is similar to what we saw under Joe Brady. I think I compare him to Josh Reed, but because he's kind of built. He's what, about 6 foot, 6 foot and a half maybe, but built kind of like a running back. Just a low center of gravity kid that great balance, and he's real good with his footwork. I love him. So I don't think we talk enough about him, but he's one of the guys that I think he's going to have a big summer, and there's going to be a lot of written about him once the dead period ends and camps are really flying. So, Ronald John Elias, any update on NCAA investigation on LSU football? Which investigation? I know we're waiting on the self-imposed sanctions of 8 scholarships. If they're going to accept that, there's a lot of belief that, waiting to see what happens with Will Wade, which comes first, which happens first. And now you've got all the other stuff going on in the USA Today. The women saying that 7 women suing. I wonder how long a lot of this stuff's going to linger out there. Are we talking about 2 or 3 years? Not just the NCAA, but the court process, depositions, getting delays in court for whether it's the civil lawsuits. I mean, are we going to be talking about 3-4 years from now that some of this stuff is still lingering out there? I think we're going to find out a lot of this stuff, probably half of it, the stuff that's civil, the civil part of it. I think we're gonna see that stuff get resolved quickly. I think because I think some of it's is questionable. That's just my opinion. Hey, Mike. Speaking of recruiting, how do you feel about Will Wade's players coming in for next year? Look, he's got a lot of irons in the fire. I know a lot of talk about the center from IMG Academy, and I had in my basketball recruiting update on Monday afternoon that one is looking like a Florida State LSU battle, but I think he's got other irons in the fire. I was told that there's maybe a kid that could be a class of 2022 that could get reclassified to 2021, and then you've got the Illinois transfer. Adam Miller that I believe is going to be LSU's on Saturday when he announces May 1st. So, and he's a kid that averaged 8.3 points, 2.8 rebounds last season. And then you've got Effin Reed from IMG Academy, the 7'1" kid, 235. That's the one that's an LSU Florida State battle. And I'm told that could go either way. It's 50-50. One day probably Florida State thinks that they're in the lead. The next day LSU does. We'll see how that plays out there. But, Ohio State and others were also involved in him at one point. I know a lot of people asking about Musa Cisse being in the transfer portal. I don't have anything new on that right now. Let's see what else, guys. Esteban, don't know if you touched on the subject, but what's your opinion of Geist being removed from the books? Boy, I can see the arguments on both ends of it. If the stuff with the elderly woman in New Orleans didn't take place, would you have done that just off the pending cases with the bigger felony charges and so forth up and they got him kicked off the Redskins? Where do you draw the line at? What are the rules on that? And you get into some dangerous territory when you start trying to compare that situation to previous LSU players that have had legal issues. Are they victims of crimes? I know Billy Cannon was using an example, and people took issue with that. Man, I've argued it one way, and I've argued it the other way. I tend not to. I'd like to hear some more discussion on it with. I'd like to know how they arrived at that decision and what the arguments were. I'll leave it at that. How do we stand with Kendrick Law? Good question, Richard Sinnett. I need to reach out to Kendrick. I haven't talked to him in a while. Recruit him as an athlete. I believe he's probably a defensive player, but he can play on both sides of the ball. Fantastic football player. Saw him in the playoffs when they lost to East Ascension, and on a really, really muddy field in Gonzales. But heck of an athlete, well coached. But yeah, I'll reach out to him and get you something more concrete. It's been a while since I talked to Kendrick. Super kid. Let's see. I got that one already. Troy Davis, well, should have a top 10 basketball class. Well, you certainly would if you got the kid from ING, and I don't know how they would grade some of the others, but we'll see how that plays out. It's, I think Will Wade has an opportunity to get. I think there's a lot more things that Wade has on his worksheet that can. He's going to get some players in there. I think you're going to have a lot of new faces next basketball season. Brian Vernell, correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Chance that LSU ends up with the number one recruiting class, I think very good. I don't see it being anything less than ranked third in the country with everything that's out there, how great the state of Louisiana is. Heck, in the month of June, LSU's getting towards double digits in official visitors right off the bat. So June is going to be a busy, busy month. And by the way, one thing that I had gotten wrong, July is going to be a normal July. So June is going to be packed. Camps, visits, unofficial visits. I think there might be 1 week in the month of July where it opens up for some unofficial visits where kids can come visit and tour the facilities, but it won't be official visits. You'll have, of course, SEC football media days, which we got the release on that today, and Ed Orgeron will speak on the Monday, the first day of SEC football media days. But July will be a normal July where you have coaches going out and using some vacation time before they get to work at the beginning of August. So June is going to be very, very busy in LSU football recruiting between camps, official visits, and then you're going to wonder how many of those official visits are there when there's a camp weekend going on. How do they juggle that? So that LSU football staff is going to be exhausted by July 1st. Jim Milano, where's Sanji? Sanji is taking the night off. He's got a date night. So we'll see if we get him back next week. Chili Vic, why is 247 low on Aaron Anderson? I did not see where they have him. Where do they have him ranked? Look, I think on Aaron Anderson, I don't know who their guy is, or I think I do know who their regional guy is. Between a COVID year and that's something I touched on a week or two ago, the national services with a third recruiting network about to get cranked up, the numbers, the dollars, the staffs of guys that outcover recruiting is dwindling. You've got guys on some of these recruiting networks that have 4 and 5 states that they have to cover. Don't come to Louisiana or go to Shreveport for the whatever that Saturday is when they've got that border game, whatever, where they've got 3 or 4 games and say you've been to Louisiana and seen some kids. No, you didn't. And T-shirt camps don't count either. So I think I really believe in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to look back, and a lot of it's due to COVID, but I'm seeing right now where I think about the number when I was on a network before I took TigerBait Independent, the number of regional recruiting analysts that we had compared to what the numbers are now, it's a third, maybe even a quarter of what we used to have back then. And those guys, it's impossible for them to be accurate in their recruiting rankings. And just watching Huddle isn't going to do it. There's guys that are better than others, that cover their region better than others. But I've seen some things in the rankings that really just do not make sense to me. Let's see. Kenny Russell, I've noticed Nick Saban has built his championship teams based off Louisiana superstars. If O continue to lock down the boot, we would start seeing things turn in our favor over the years. Look, I would have liked to have seen Christian Harris at LSU. I think that was a mistake. I think they missed the boat on that one. Took Dante Starks. He was out of the program in a hurry. Christian Harris, a hell of an athlete. They were debating whether he was tough enough. That they absolutely got that wrong. And I tend to think Dave Aranda was mainly the culprit on that one. He absolutely blew that one. Of course, we know what Devonta Smith did. But at the same time, while you had Devonta Smith doing what he was doing in Alabama, you had LSU with Jamar Chase and Marshall and McMath. And it's not like LSU's been hurting for wide receivers. Heck, I go back even with Landon Collins. It's not like LSU stunk at safety while Landon Collins was without Alabama. I think probably if you would say what is the recruit that has hurt LSU the most that got away, maybe Cam Robinson. Dylan Moses is had a good career, but he was hurt. I don't know where those guys have been difference makers for them, and I don't know where you could say because one of or two of those guys, other than Devonta Smith, but again LSU's had great wide receivers. You just don't like losing those guys to your SEC West rival. Bottom line, but I don't think any of those guys prevented LSU from having one more win on a season, except maybe Devonta Smith because he's such a game breaker. Jake Nola, Mike deserves a prize for his work on the Kim Mulkey hire. Appreciate that, Jake. Did a lot of work. Like I said on my Facebook and Twitter posts, if you would have told me years ago, hey man, there's going to be a day one day where the whole front page of TigerBait.com, every thumbnail on the front half of it is going to be a woman basketball coach, and people are going to be gobbling up. I said you're crazy, but that's what Kim Mulkey is. It truly is a credit to Scott Woodward to get her to LSU. It's when you read her bio, I jokingly say she's like Paul Bunyan, the fable. When you read her resume, her bio, and when I was going through it from the Baylor site and getting all my stuff ready for when the news broke, it's like, what could you sandwich in there? What more could she have done between national championships, what she did as a Pee-wee basketball player, All-State, Louisiana Tech All-American, national championships there, national championships as a coach, Hall of Fame. She's going to be inducted by Michael Jordan in a couple of weeks. There's nothing left on that woman's resume. I guess now she's hoping to say that she'll, if she does what she wants to do at LSU, if she achieves what she's setting out to achieve, that she'll be able to say that she won 2 national championships at 2 different schools. So I guess if she achieves that at LSU at some point, then her resume, there's no topping it. It's untouchable. Let's see. Guys, I'm mixing and matching. Ronald McGee, you have to recruit good players for the O-line and deep line to be in the national championship picture year in, year out. That's what we have to do better. No doubt about it. This offensive line class at LSU is going to be, I think, very, very good. Between what you have in Louisiana, Emory Jones, outstanding. Got Will Campbell on board already. Bo Bordelon, I think, is going to be a beast when he puts on the weight. And look, already you've got 2 big official visitors scheduled for the month of June. You got Malik Agbo from Washington, June 11th official visit. And then you've got Julian Armala from Columbus High School in Miami, another 6'6" kid. And he's visiting the week before, first week of June, June 5th. So Coach Craig's got an opportunity to really load the wagon. And I think June's going to be very, very lucrative for LSU football. I think they're going to, I think when you get to August before Labor Day, LSU's going to be where they probably usually are, 18, 19 commitments for the class of 2022. And then I think we're also going to see more than a handful of commitments for the class of 23, depending on how big of a show up you have of kids attending camp. So now that we're at 100% capacity for fans and stands, I don't see where there's going to be any limits on the number of kids that they can have for football camp. Maybe they're still going to have to regulate when they do some work in the indoor facility where they'll do one-on-one work. We'll see how that plays out, what the rules are going to be there. So if they let the media in on that, maybe we'll have to be wearing masks in the indoor facility. So let's see. Blaine Smith saw we offered a Texas A&M commit a wide receiver with LSU family ties. Which one was that? I missed that, Blaine. Give me the name. Brett Garafola, Kim Mulkey is the Nick Saban of women's basketball. Brett, I want you to fess up. You were very, very iffy and skeptical this time last week, weren't you, about LSU's ability to get Kim Mulkey here? I'm looking for your comment. Giving you a little bit of fun there, Brett. Let's see. Kenny Russell, Mike, do you believe Orgeron can win another championship within the next 5 years? I think it is possible. I think with the quarterbacks that are coming in, I like the coaches here. I mean, look, you're always going to have turnover. But, yeah, I do think it's possible. I like what the state is yielding in talent. And you guys know what I think of Walker Howard, and it's not just him. The year behind him, you got you've got some quarterbacks for the class of 23 as well. So I think Garrett Nussmeier's got a bright future. And the state's got athletes galore. Some of the kids that I'm seeing for 23, and I'm already seeing a couple of kids for 24 that I think are going to be lights out. So I think in the next 5 years, yes, I do. I think LSU's got an opportunity. I think next year, if things fall right, and y'all might think I'm crazy, I'm predicting no less than 10-2, and LSU's going to be favored in every single game next season except one. So what happens if you go 11-1? LSU could be a playoff team next year, unless there's a rash of injuries or something just doesn't come about the way I think it could. So the schedule really does shape up well for LSU. I always like it when it's Auburn, Florida, and Texas A&M at home, and then you go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. Isaac Satingo. Yeah, I tweeted that. Louisiana ties. We'll see how that plays out. LSU ties, definitely. I'm wondering how that's going to, what the numbers are there at wide receiver, because you still got Shaz Preston out there. It's going to be very interesting. Let me scroll up, guys. I think I missed. By the way, guys, I want to talk about Pride Roofing. As always, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, excellent guys. Talk about them every week. We thank them for sponsoring the show. And they're running the promo. Call them if you've had any hail damage a few weeks ago, if you've got a roof that's on the back end of its lifespan and you're not sure how much more you got, give them the call. They come out for free. They're going to give you that free roof inspection. You tell them you saw them on TigerBait.com. They're going to give you TigerBait free for a year. That's a $99 value. So you're getting a free inspection and free TigerBait. There's no obligation. You can't beat it. They're footing the bill for the TigerBait.com, by the way. So give them a call. A+ certified with the Better Business Bureau. They make all a lot of their stuff in-house. They've got enough shingles in that yard for 150 roofs. Anywhere from Sulphur to Foley, Alabama, Gulf Shores. They're opening up a new branch. They're in Gulfport, Biloxi. Of course, in Albany, Louisiana is the main location. One of our guys saw us on the show. They're going to be doing a house in Breaux Bridge. So Lafayette, Sulphur, anywhere on I-10 south of Alexandria, all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi, and all throughout the Gulf Coast. If you're an LSU fan and you want TigerBait, give them a call, and they're going to foot the bill. Like I said, no builder grade materials, and Mike Faraday, an LSU grad, born and raised here in Baton Rouge, super people, and they want to earn your business, and they're very competitive as well. If you're getting bids, I know one of our guys got competitive, and they beat the price, and they got the job. So, and the guy got the free TigerBait, so cannot beat it. Wally Tarver, see a couple of Gilbert questions back to back. Any word on Eric Gilbert? No new word. It's such a sticky situation. A lot of that's, not something that they're going to openly discuss. That they've got to, first of all, his grades. I don't know what hoops he's got to jump through. How many courses he's going to need. Does he need a lot of intercession work? Summer school? Does he have to take max loads? Can he even get there? like I said the last few weeks, I don't know what his grade point average was coming in December after last semester. What was he doing through the spring? Did he unenroll? Did he, I don't know the ins and outs of any of that. And I wouldn't expect them, even off the record, to share how that's going to play out. But I do think whether he's eligible this season or not, I think his best course forward into getting where he needs to be is at LSU, because they've got everything there for him to get it done. And but we're pulling for him. We'll see how it happens. Aaron Abu Johnson, love the show. Whenever I get the chance to tune in, Mike, always have great information and updates on the Tigers. Thanks, Mike. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you very much, Aaron, for the kind words. Very much appreciated. I'm glad you're loving TigerBait. And we had an unbelievable week of subscriptions last week, and very much appreciative. Please go to TigerBait, subscribe. $1 you can get on the site for a week. And like I said, big month of football recruiting about to be on TigerBait.com. I'm hitting the road. High school football programs are starting spring practice next week. And so I'm going to have a load of interviews, photos, prospect video that I'm going to be shooting out there. And so I've got a laundry list of guys that I'm hoping to get real soon for updates. And you'll want to be subscribed to that. And always, do the $99 one-year trial period. You save $30. It's a lot better than getting billed every month of TigerBait. So our community on our Tiger Den message board is growing. A lot of great discussion. I'm on our message boards day and night answering your questions. So it's not just the show we do here. I'm on the message board day and night, and I'm a night owl too. So I'm even interacting on the board sometimes at 1 or 2 in the morning. Yeah, Dane, good question. I was thinking about the other day. When will you have the TigerBait anniversary reunion? Well, I want to have a TigerBait. It's our 25th anniversary of TigerBait this year, and I need to figure out a way to do it. Whether we do it before the season starts, if we do something the day of a game somewhere, whether it be a tailgate party, or whether we do something on a Thursday at night or something along those lines. Somewhere, but I do want to have some sort of get-together for the 25th year of TigerBait.com. It's a milestone. I don't know that I'm going to be having a 50-year anniversary. I got a late start, so of course the internet didn't exist when I could have started. So I need to work on that, and I hope to have some information on that soon. I know there's a couple of guys that have said that they want to be a part of it. Pride Roofing said that they want to put in some bucks for it and be a part of the festivities. So we'll figure something out. Just got to have a place that's big enough. I'd like to have a band if I could get one, and I've got a couple of bands that I could probably choose from. Let's see. Chance Babin. How many more spots does Will Wade have left to fill? I asked that question on Sunday when I talked to The Source, and the answer I got was we're gonna take as many players as we can that can help us. And so I think there's gonna be a lot of new names. And I did ask, is there gonna be some guys like from through like Norfolk State? I made up a name. No, nothing like that. But there are some irons in the fire. So I don't know how great of a team Will Wade's gonna have next season. He sure is losing a lot, but I'm telling you, just when we think he's got a hole, and certainly would have liked to have another big last year, he finds a way to get it done and be highly competitive, and I think he will next year. Pat Mashburn was in. Got to see Pat. He was on the floor of the PMAC Monday. Good to see him and meet him in person, one of our subscribers. And Charles Duncan, who is the next big football commitment? Well, y'all asked me that question last week, and I said, I don't really know. And then what do we get Friday morning? Jacoby Matthews saying I'm announcing at 4 o'clock out of the blue. And that was a big one. And depending on where you look, he's either a high 4. I've got him as a high 4. One of the networks has him as a 5. I think he's got a chance to be a 5 on TigerBait. I think while he's listed as an athlete or a safety right now, I think it's entirely possible that in a year or two, in a couple of years, you're talking about a 220-pound outside linebacker. He's got an opportunity to be fantastic wherever he plays. But he's one that I'm looking forward to seeing at camp in June. I would love to see him in one-on-ones at safety and see how he does with best of the best, which you always see at an Ed Orgeron LSU football camp. Carl Dunn. So with Mulkey and the family now, how long till the PMAC gets a major overhaul for both basketball programs? I don't know if you guys, I posted an update and I talked to a really good source yesterday morning and posted something yesterday, last night about it. Look, the current PMAC, I think it's a beautiful facility on the inside. I mean, they spent some money. That scoreboard, the video screen's as big as the court. The seats are all brand new. Walking around there Monday, you could eat off the floor in that Maravich Assembly Center. But I think at some point, all athletics directors and certainly coaches, and one thing Mulkey is known for is fundraising. At some point, you got to have suites because that's where you bring in the money. So I don't know if you cut into that roof, if you can lift it up somehow, or cut into it, or you have to take away, most of the bowl or a side of the upper deck to install some suites. What is the load on that? Can you even do it structurally? And even if you can do that, I was told that the price tag, and they've looked into it before, the price tag of doing something like that can get you over $100 million. So Baylor's new arena, they're going to break ground on next year or in 18 months. The price tag on that's 170. Why would you spend 100 or just over 100 on a 40-year-old, almost 50-year-old facility? You just go ahead and build a new one. Well, then how do you do that? Do you make the team play in the River Center for a couple of years? What do you do at Mike the Tiger? You implode the PMAC. He can't be sitting in his yard with all that debris. You're going to send him to Baton Rouge Zoo. Where do you put him for a while? And certainly you wouldn't want him out there with all the noise in the buildings going on. It'd be highly stressful on him, so you'd have to relocate him for a while. But one of the things that was brought up to me was thought of moving the track stadium. Well, then that adds to your price tag. You're building a new Bernie Moore track stadium, and where would you put that? But the idea that I was told, which I really like, was that you would move Bernie Moore and build a new track stadium somewhere. Of course, I think the nauditoriums already need to be demolished, just like the worst nauditorium in the SEC. That's got to be taken care of soon anyways. But you would build a new arena closer to Nicholson, where Bernie Moore is, move the track stadium somewhere else, and then you would have like a green area. You would implode the PMAC, have a green area right there leading all the way from Tiger Football Stadium, leading towards Kirby Smith, the field house. And that could be an area where you could have like a commons area. You could have bands for like Alive After 5 or Downtown Alive in Lafayette. You could have little musical events there. And in fact, the guy said it would be kind of like you would be creating almost like a grove like at Ole Miss. And I like that idea. But then you're talking about not only you building a basketball arena, but you're building a new track stadium. And how much is a new track stadium? What is that? Is that about the same price as a new Alex Box? 50, 60, 70 million? It's a lot of money. So maybe Shaq can cut a check for all of it, huh? Let's see. Charles Duncan. Yeah, I talked about it earlier. Does LSU sign a guy from Illinois? Confidence is very high that he'll be choosing LSU on Saturday. So stay tuned for that one. Let's see. Let Mike the Tiger share space with PETA. Okay. And no, we're not going to put him in Grossstead at the gas station. He's not going there. Let's see. Any more questions, guys? Hit me some more. Please like and share this, by the way. I said it earlier in the show. If you're enjoying it, if you're on Facebook, please hit the like button. Share it to your Facebook feed. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And very much appreciated. Our YouTube channel has been growing exponentially. We load videos there every day, and about to start re-uploading or I've got a backlog of from our TigerBait vault where I'm going to be loading up all the prospect video that I've shot in the last 13 or 14 years. I've got a gold mine sitting in files where I'm going to be uploading a lot of our old TigerBait TV segments. If you want to go see some Devon Godchaw or whatever it is that I shot of him back in high school, I've got all that kind of stuff. I even got some Tyrann Mathieu that I shot that I discovered the other day. So I'm going to be loading out all that up to our YouTube channel. So you want to go and subscribe there. Go to YouTube, TigerBait.com, or if you just go to the front page of TigerBait.com, you'll see the YouTube icon at the very top or at the very bottom. Click on that and it'll take you right to our YouTube channel. Brendan Caldwell, conductor, what is your guess as to how Coach O feels the LA? Type that out for me. I'm not understanding that. Oh, I see. How does he feel the last open spot? Man, that's a good question. That's something we haven't talked about in a while. I don't have an answer for you on that right now. I'll find out for you, and I'll have it for you the show next week. Come back next week. That's something that I have not looked into in a while. But you know, they've got a little bit of time. I'm sure they're watching that transfer portal. We'll see how that plays out. Would you have, Brett? Let me see. You commented above. Charles Duncan, there was a popularity contest among Glidden, Gilbo, Dick Vitale, and Paul Feinbaum, and an undecided won by a landslide. Yeah, I saw Glenn at the PMAC Monday afternoon. He was there for Kim Mulkey. Dane Bergeron, LSU needs a shifty running back to go with the offense in the CEH mold. Armani Goodwin could be that guy. I'm looking forward to seeing him when he arrives in June. Charles, the track stadium is more than 50 years old. Yeah, it is. But, you know, surprisingly, Bernie Moore is still considered, and they sunk, what, $5-6 million into it, 8 years ago? The surface and a lot of the other amenities of Bernie Moore is still considered very, very one of your top track venues in America. Now, I saw what Oregon built, and what is that thing, like 80 or 120 million that Knight built for Oregon? It's a crazy, crazy stadium. Is Walker Howard a lock for LSU? Yes, he is. He's not going anywhere. Chatted a little bit with Jamie this afternoon, his dad. Let's see. Yeah, he's not going anywhere, and he's helping recruit this fantastic recruiting class for Ed Orgeron. Brian Madeir, Mike, any info on Mason Smith? Glad you brought up Mason. That was a big get for LSU. I know when Jeff Martin left LSU for USC a couple of months ago, I thought that was kind of it was definitely a blow. Jeff's been in the program for several decades, and he's now in Los Angeles at USC, but I immediately thought that Mason might be a guy that LSU would look to replace him, and I reached out to Mason and asked him about it. He goes, nah, and then here we are on Friday morning. He's announced he's joining the LSU staff, so I know he's excited, and LSU's excited to have him. I really like the staff at LSU and what Ed Orgeron's got working with him, not only with his coaches, but analysts, player personnel people. He's got a lot of talented people right now. Is Caleb Young coming back from Baylor to help with North Shore kids? Not sure on that. But you know, Caleb is, you know, he's been at LSU, had been at LSU for quite a long time and knows the area. And look, there's a lot of guys in that building that have a lot of resources and a lot of relationships. It's all about relationships. And I think look, Ed Orgeron's got a lot of contacts on the North Shore. I don't know that he needs any help, but we'll see. Eric DeLion, sorry I'm late. Is it true 100% capacity, occupancy, and no mask required for LSU baseball? That is true. Releases on the front page of TigerBait, and so you're going to go to your first game. All right. Charles Duncan, kudos the way you follow the Kim Mulkey story. You lead everyone. I don't know about leading everyone, but I thoroughly enjoyed chasing that story all last week, and got a lot of help from some great guys at Sikkim 365. I joked with those guys the other day. I said, I know more about Baylor athletics than I ever cared to know. Really liked their show. David Smoke, who was on my show Sunday night, it was absolutely fantastic. Knows his women basketball. Knows Kim Mulkey, has a great relationship with her. So he provided a lot of insight when chasing that story last week. And so very much a lot of gratitude towards those guys at Sikkim365.com. I kind of listened to them yesterday when they had their athletics director on, and I just don't know how you replace Kim Mulkey. But like I said earlier in the show, I really think it's unfair to him. It's kind of those deals where when Nick Saban left for the Miami Dolphins, there were some people that got after Skip, like Skip didn't do enough to keep Nick Saban. You weren't going to stop that. And I'm not saying LSU women's basketball program and coming to Louisiana is like going to the NFL. But I think it was just a perfect storm, and Scott Woodward seized on the opportunity. And I think it's going to be a fun ride. And I think Kim Mulkey is right when she tells people, get on board, get your tickets early. Don't wait for us to be good. Be on the ground floor and enjoy the ride because she wants your support early. And I think she's going to make it fun. So, look, man, between gymnastics, LSU softball, someone brought up women's beach volleyball I saw earlier in the chat. I missed that one. There's a lot of spring sports that to feast on that make things fun, particularly when the weather is nice. Let's see. Yeah, Pat, that was something that Mac, their AD Mac, said. He's asking whoever interviews, how are they going to handle following Kim Mulkey? What's going to be their answers for this and that? How are you going to respond when you're not having the success and people are saying you're no Kim Mulkey? That guy's got a tall order. Obviously they support their basketball team. They were losing over $6 million a year. It was a loss leader for their athletic department. But even then, it's like it's going to be a very tough as nails coach that's willing to accept that job, and you're probably going to admire him. But my heart goes out to those people because I like I said the other night, this would be them losing Kim Mulkey would be the equivalent of LSU losing Skip Bertman if Skip would have had another 10 or 15 years left in him to coach somewhere else. Had he left after 5 national championships with the plans on the table for the new Alex Box, and he would have went to Miami, back to Miami, or had went to Texas or whatever, it would have made people absolutely sick. And this is really very, very similar. It's this, they lost a big piece of what, it's not like Baylor has had a whole lot of success in a lot of sports. Women's basketball has been their bell cow for 15, 20 years. And so there's no replacing her. Kenny Russell, how do you feel about our chances with Arch Manning? I think it's a little early, but I think, look, I'm going to be real anxious to see this June what Arch Manning's camp schedule is going to look like. How active is he going to be? Is he going to go to 2 or 3 schools? Of course, you always have the Manning Passing Academy. He'll be there for that. But what schools does he visit now that things are going to open up? There's a lot of schools that really want to have him in the building. And it's going to be a big news story if we find out that Arch is going to be one of the quarterbacks at LSU's camp. The last time he was at LSU, he was there for the 7-on-7 camp 2 years ago. I was there for that when they were playing 7-on-7. And I got a photo of Cooper standing on the outside of a golf cart. Sitting in the golf cart was Joe Brady and Archie Manning, and then Arch's mom was sitting in one of those foldable chairs on the other side of the golf cart. And great picture. I need to go dig that up. But I think that there's still, who are the players in a year? Who's where? How well is Lane Kiffin doing at Ole Miss? I don't see a Manning playing anywhere but in the SEC. I could be wrong. I know some people are bringing up Sark at Texas. Texas is making some noise in recruiting, but you would expect that in year one. Newness, excitement. So we'll see how this play out. But I cannot fathom a Manning playing anywhere but for an SEC school. And so what is the lay of the land? What is the outlook of the coaches at each school? Is anybody on the hot seat? How do they like the offense? Do they like the offensive coordinator? What does Jake Peetz's offense look like? Is it doing what LSU hopes it's going to do? I think it's going to. There's just so many factors there. But really working in LSU's favor, of course, is he's got a couple of Newman teammates committed to LSU for the class of 2022. And he's close to those guys. Make no mistake about it, Johnson and Bordelon. Yeah, Carl asked the question, is it 7-on-7? I would like for him not only to be there for 7-on-7, if that's there, but like two summers ago when it was like a who's who of quarterbacks at LSU's football camp. You had Caleb Williams, TJ Finley, Max Johnson, Walker. You had Altmaier that's committed to Ole Miss, great quarterback. The kid that's from coaches at Middle Tennessee State, his dad. Ty Simpson was there. Nussmeier was there. It was the most incredible camp of quarterbacks I'd ever seen at LSU. I wonder if they can have a similar layout of kids this June. I hope they do. Manning is scheduled to visit Texas. Yes, there's some talk of that. Like I said, I have a hard time believing a Manning's going to play outside of the SEC. I could be wrong. Jake Noel, do you think Kerry Vincent gets drafted with his speed? Someone's going to go for him. I do. The question is where and will he last? But we'll see how that plays out. Dane Bergeron, yeah, you said that on the message board. I bought 4 women's basketball season tickets, and I don't even like basketball. I think there's going to be a lot of people. Certainly there's going to be a curiosity factor, and I'd be curious to see all the festivities, and it's going to be. I want to see what her December basketball schedule is going to look like. I want to see how aggressive she's going to be. Richard Taylor, any more news on men's basketball recruiting? I don't have anything on women's basketball recruiting, not yet. And talking to my guys that run that Baylor site, I'm not sure Kim. They told me that Kim really doesn't share recruiting info with the guys that tried to cover recruiting. So I don't know if she'll be any different here, but I think if there was a Simone Augustus, another Simone Augustus type in the Baton Rouge area, we'd certainly be covering her. But I don't know that Kim Mulkey is going to be dropping recruiting info to guys like me who like to cover recruiting. And as far as men's basketball recruiting, we expect the Illinois transfer on May 1, Saturday. That looks like LSU. The confidence level is high for him. And then you've got the big kid, the 7-footer at IMG, LSU Florida State battle for him. And but yeah, we're looking for Adam Miller, LSU on Saturday, and then we'll see about Efton Reed and what he's going to do. I was told he could make a decision tomorrow, or it could go longer. Or when I say it could be any day, not knowing when he might make a decision. But I was told by my source that it's an LSU Florida State battle for him. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap things up. I want to thank you all for being a part of the show tonight. Go to TigerBait.com, subscribe. We want to have you as an annual subscriber. Thanks to Pride Roofing. Give them a call. Get your free TigerBait that way if you choose. If you need a free roof inspection, call them. And we'll be back next week. And I'm actually going to start adding some guests. Not only are we going to do the normal show on Wednesday and Thursday nights, which I'm probably going to move permanently to Wednesday night. I'm going to see how that goes. Once I get an idea of what the high school football season is looking like, we might move it permanent to Wednesday. But I'm also going to add some shows during the day and at various times where I bring in some guests via video for interviews. So that's why you want to hit the notification bell on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Make sure you get the see first and receive notifications so when we go live. So thank y'all. Go to TigerBait and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Y'all have a good evening.